Sure. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Steve, thanks so much to you for doing this presentation for us. You've all heard now. I mean, you know Steve's background. He was a real estate trainer for many years, and he's now been with eXp for just over 2 years. And in that time, he's built an amazing organization within eXp South Africa, hundreds of agents, and I think it's the largest eXp organization worldwide, apart from the United States and Canada as well. He's really a tremendous leader, and he just provides us all within his group with so many resources. Steve, we can never thank you enough. And apart from that, you've become a very good friend to us over the last 2 years. But yeah, we definitely believe, look, we're so happy with eXp. We believe that every agent in South Africa should at least see the model and understand exactly what it's about. And then you can make an informed decision going forward. And Steve is by far the best guy to present all the benefits to you, so you can do that. Steve, over to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Andre. Those are kind words. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, yeah, guys, if I could just ask that you would mute your mics during today, and then I'll open it up for questions at the end. So if I see people putting their hands up, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to just ignore that for now. But then we'll definitely do questions at the end, and I'm happy to stay on afterwards, even if others have to go. So, yeah, eXp is, when I first heard about eXp 2.5 years ago, so I'd actually never heard of the business. And I called it EPS for the first 3 weeks when the guy introduced it to me, showed me. He eventually got me to sit down with him. I was a bit resistant in the beginning. And then I watched a video. It was the US-based video explaining how it works in the States. But the concept is exactly the same. The model's the same. Obviously, just the currency equivalents are different in South Africa. And just from the moment I actually stopped and looked at it intelligently, it just, once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's like this. I just realized this is a completely market disruptive model. And if it does in South Africa, what I think it will do, what it has done all around the world, nothing is going to be able to stop this thing. And in fact, that is exactly what has happened in South Africa. So in the States, eXp is about 13 or 14 years old now. It is after, and that's not very long in terms of a business. I mean, 13 or 14 years is not old. You know, you've got the Corcorans and the Better Home and Garden and the ERA and the Sotheby's and the Remaxes and the Keller Williamses of the world in America that have been around for 25, 50 years or longer. eXp has come on the scene, and in the States now, after 13 or 14 years, they are the biggest real estate company in America. Now, I mean, if you've run your own business, I know there's some principals with us today. You just think about that. Like you probably, after 10 or 15 years, if that's how long you've been running your business, maybe you've got to sort of 20, 25 agents in your office. How on earth does a company in 13 years get 90,000 agents and be open in 24 countries of the world and be the largest on transaction count in America? South Africa, we launched 2.5 years ago, beginning of 2021. Essentially, we started here. We are now, we're in the top 10 real estate companies in South Africa. We've got over 1,000 agents. It's like, you know, the reason I wanted to start by just throwing some of the numbers at you is because it was the stubbornness of the facts of the growth of eXp that got me to finally sit down and just give it my attention. So what Andre and I did after the ChatGPT webinar, we isolated about 50 of you that we wanted to have this conversation with, because we like the look of what you're doing. You are clearly serious about your real estate business. So if you're here, it's because we have isolated you and we want to talk to you about eXp. And I want to commend you for taking an hour and a half or whatever we're going to be here today to at least, and hopefully you will switch your phone off and just give yourself the next hour and a half to intelligently look at this model that is changing the world of real estate. And I hope that today I will give you an intelligent well-presented presentation of eXp's model. So at the end of today, at least you can say, I have taken an intelligent look at this thing and I do understand its model. And what will happen is, I predict many of you who sit through today and listen and concentrate will end up, at the very least, getting excited by what you see. And many of you, I believe, will end up actually making the move over to eXp because it is such a compelling offer. Okay, if you do enjoy what you see here today and it piques your interest, I'm going to recommend a few steps for you to take next. Two things in particular. I'm going to recommend you do a whole bunch of homework into eXp. You don't want to just listen to my voice. You want to hear multiple voices. You want to get online and do your own research. If this business is what we say it is, then the homework should bear that out. So go and do a bunch of homework. We have got a page, and for those of you who are here who are my guests, I've actually already sent you the link to this page. I sent this to you in advance of today if you wanted to go do some more homework, but we can send it to you again. If you're one of Andre and Lydia's guests here, maybe you don't have this link yet, but they will send it to you after today's webinar. There's a link to a page where there's a whole bunch of videos and resources that we've collated from different people around the world. It's just convenient because it's in one place and you can go and watch to your heart's content. The more voices you hear, the more you are going to be confirmed in what I tell you here today. I can tell you that is what will happen. So go and do your homework. The second thing I would recommend that you do is get together with either Andre or Lydia, or get together with me if you're my guest here today. Let's get together again sometime next week. It doesn't have to be in person. We can just get together on a Google meeting, but kind of one-on-one so that you can ask your questions, do some homework, make a list of questions, and let's get together again. I mean, the next step is really to get into a conversation with us about this, and that's certainly what we want to do. So what I will do after today, what Andre and Lydia will do after today is we will, if we get a chance, we will phone you and we will say, how did you enjoy today? What do you like most about the eXp model? Would you like to get into a discussion further about this? And just be honest. Be honest with us. And we're here to work with people who want to work with us, obviously. So do some homework. Okay, the first thing that you're probably going to notice, which is disruptive about this model, is that eXp gives you an exit plan. Now, this is the thing that, for me, was like, it was the biggest problem in the real estate training and coaching industry. I had a very good coaching career. I had a great business. I was very well known in the real estate industry. I spoke at all of the major conferences of the big real estate companies. I had a very good relationship with the industry. But you know, the problem with the real estate training business is you are only as good as your last speaking engagement. You're only as good as your last conference or your last webinar or the last product that you've sold. And every month you start again and you've got to get another webinar and get another speaking engagement and maybe create some new product that you sell. It was exhausting. I've been doing it on and off for 20 years, and I'm telling you, I was exhausted by it. I made very good money at times in a very short space of time. Hey, wonderful. But you know what? You start from naught the next day. Now, there should be some resonance in you with what you face as an estate agent, because 99.9% of estate agents have exactly the same problem. It doesn't matter if you did 5 million rands worth of commission last year. You start the 1st of January every year with nothing. And for most of you, if you are working for a company that you're not the principal of, the day you leave that company, you leave with nothing. You leave with no equity in the business. You leave with no residual income from all of the deals that you've done in the past. You leave with nothing. You do not have an exit plan in real estate. It's one of the biggest problems in this industry. And what eXp have done is, through a couple of means, they have addressed that problem, which is very exciting. Okay, 2 ways in particular. The first one is that eXp is a NASDAQ-listed company. NASDAQ is the major technology stock exchange in America where Google and Facebook, etc., are listed. So we are a major stock on one of the major stock markets in America. And in fact, it is one of the best performing stocks over the last 6 months. If you go and look at the share price, EXPI is the handle. You can just get onto your app on the phone and just go and find the EXP share price. There it is, EXPI. Nice green bar heading up. We're at about $20 now as a share price. What happens with eXp is all of the agents in eXp are given shares in the business. The agents are the owners of the company. That is a major differentiator from most of the franchises and companies out there. So from the moment you've done your first deal with eXp, you're going to be given shares in the business, which is awesome. I was looking at my share portfolio a little bit earlier this morning, and I haven't paid 1 cent for eXp shares, and I've got over 250,000 rands worth of shares that have been given to me in just 2.5 years, just because some of the stuff that I've been doing, we get given shares for doing essentially what you're already doing at your current company. Okay, that's the first way, is by building up a shareholding in the business. And the second way is eXp allow us to build up a passive income through their revenue sharing system. I am going to explain that a little bit later today, but what eXp have said is that they will take a split on all of their agents' commissions like every other real estate company in the world does, but instead of keeping that split to pay for all of their own expenses, they take half of that split that they take and they give it back to the agents. And they reward the agents who are helping grow the company. So you can build up a significant share of the revenues of the company. Because it's an agent-owned business, the agents get paid the revenues of the business. And I can guarantee you, where you're at right now, unless you're the owner of the company, that is not true. They don't share the revenues of the company with you. And that's not even profit, it's revenues of the company, which is huge. Okay, I'll explain how those two things work later. The other thing that may catch your attention, I know that is something that a lot of people are attracted to at eXp, is that eXp's model is one in which you are an independent contractor with the business. You have unlimited freedom. You don't have a boss. Yes, there is a principal to the company. His name's Andrew Thompson. He's the principal of all 1,020 agents around the country. But it is a very flat and loose authoritarian structure. You basically run your own business and you are using eXp's platform to do it. So I don't know if you are, a lot of agents are sick and tired of someone looking over their shoulder. They're tired of having to be in office meetings that they don't want to be in, or doing duties that they don't want to do, or having to answer questions like, how many listings have you got? How many phone calls did you make last week? How many? And I've had a lot of agents tell me, you know what, I'm not a child anymore. I can stand on my own 2 feet as an agent. I just don't want to start a real estate company of my own and become an NQF5 principal and have a trust account that needs to be audited every year. I don't want a P24 membership that costs me 5,000 or 10,000 rand a month, and a private property membership and a Lightstone membership and an office with staff and computers and air conditioning. And I don't want to have all of the legal and statutory requirements of running a real estate company in South Africa. I just want independence. Well, this is exactly what eXp does, is they allow you to be an independent business owner, and yet you don't need any of the things that someone who owns their own real estate company does, because eXp provides the entire platform to you. So it's independence backed by a global superpower whose systems are the best in the world. Oh, so I tell you, I love that. I'm an eXp agent like anybody else, and I don't have a boss. No one tells me what to do. I do as much or as little as I want to do, and I'm building my own business. It is wonderful. I love the independence. Okay, what's the story behind eXp? It was founded by a guy called Glenn Sanford. He's a Canadian. He was a Keller Williams agent. Many of the initial founders of eXp, that the agents and leadership that came with him when he left Keller Williams, were Keller Williams agents. So that you will see, if you're a Keller Williams agent here, you will see some similarities between eXp's model and the Keller Williams model, although eXp took the best of what was the Keller Williams model and then they put it on steroids, and which is why eXp have just taken over the world of real estate in the States. and many Keller Williams teams are still moving across to eXp. I'm not having a go at Keller Williams. I'm just telling you the story of the company. These are the facts of the matter. He left Keller Williams and he said, okay, I'm going to take what's good in this model, but I want to start a business where the agents are the owners of the company and where the revenues of the company are shared with the agents. The other thing that he said is, I don't think we need bricks and mortar anymore. Now, just remember, this was in 2009 that he started eXp in 2009. There was no such thing as Zoom or Google Meetings or webinars. This guy was prescient. He's a bit of a Steve Jobs. He looked into the future and he said, you know what? People more and more are searching online for properties, and all of this money that's spent on bricks and mortar, office space, is a waste of money. We can do this equally well with a business based in the cloud with good technology. And so he started this business with this vision in 2009, and the rest is history. And I'll show you some of the technology as we go on today. So that's Glenn Sanford. Glenn is actually doing an event with us in South Africa in our avatar world. So we've got a metaverse that the whole company is based in. There's offices, there's training rooms, etc. It'll blow your mind when you're in there. We've got a meeting for South Africa in a few weeks' time. I can't remember the date. Maybe someone can put it in the chat roll if you know it. And it's going to be in the South African auditorium in the avatar world. And Glenn Sanford is one of our guests. So come along to that. You can get details from us. When eXp entered, thanks, Andre, 6th of September. When eXp expanded into a new country, which they started doing about 3 years ago, South Africa was the first global country. The UK and Australia were already open. But when they started identifying a major move to go global, they picked South Africa as their first country. Why? Because the guy that heads up eXp Global is a guy called Michael Valdez. They headhunted him from Realty, which is now called Anywhere. It's the biggest real estate grouping in the world. They own Sotheby's, they own ERA, they own Corcoran, they own Better Home and Garden, and a bunch of the big real estate companies in the States. They headhunted him from that company to head up our global expansion. And because he had planted Sotheby's in South Africa, he knew the South African market well. He knows we've got a good banking system. We've got a stable real estate regulator. Don't argue by comparison to countries like Mexico, etc. We still got it pretty good here, okay? So they isolated South Africa. They've launched in South Africa 3 years ago, and what they do is it's a wholly owned subsidiary. This is not a franchise operation. They start a company in that country, and then they employ staff. So we have a staff complement now of about 15 or 16 staff members. They are an unbelievable team. Andrew Thompson has done an incredible job of leading eXp South Africa. So these are the employees of the business. I'm not an employee of the business. I'm just an agent like you would be, like anybody else, like Andre and Lydia. But we help grow the company, and you're going to see how that works. So there's a team of management that run the business. Then there are transactional specialists. So when you do a deal with eXp, you work with one of our transactional specialists, and that to make sure that all of the transactions are the documentation is in place, etc. We've got rental specialists, etc., etc. So you will meet the eXp South Africa team if you get on board. They're incredibly supportive. Okay, what makes eXp's model so disruptive? This is a great slide to illustrate to you the difference between the traditional models of real estate and eXp's disruptive model. Every other real estate company in the world is shaped like a pyramid, like you see on the left. At the top of the pyramid, the guys that own it all are the franchise holders. So you can take Keller Williams, you can take Remax, you can take Sotheby's, you can take any of these guys as an example. There's a master franchise holder. Normally they sit in the States. Then what they do is when they start to expand internationally, they get a national franchise, like master franchise holder for the country, and somebody gets the license in the country. So there's now this next layer of expenses that gets racked up. and of people who've got to get paid through the system. Then what the international guys do is they set up regional offices, and then the regional office owners, what they do is they sell franchises. So they sell franchises to franchise owners, and then the franchise owners, what they do, they recruit agents. Okay, so here's the question. All of those layers have to get paid. Who generates all the income in the company? The agents do. The agents produce 100% of the income of the business. They are what is keeping these companies afloat, and yet they have no ownership, and they are just feeding the beast as the thing goes up. That's how most real estate companies work. In addition to that, every one of those layers, and that's what the brick is there for, have got office space. Now, if you were to take all of the bricks and mortar expense of a Remax, for example, their international franchise office, their national franchise offices, their regional offices, and then their local franchise offices on the corner of every street of every city in the world. You add up all the rental and all of the staff and all of the desks and the computer and the coffee machines, you add it all up, it would come to hundreds of thousands of US dollars a month worth of expense on the brick and mortar. Now, what have eXp done? They've taken that massive pile of cash and they've just swept it off the table. They've said, you do not need brick and mortar to run a successful real estate business. So eXp now has 90,000 agents. They are the biggest real estate company in America. We've got over 1,000 agents in South Africa, and we're open in 24 countries. So I mean, this is the same story if you go to any of these other countries. We do not own one office. The whole company works in the cloud. Now, that leaves a massive pile of cash. What do they do with it? They give it to you. They pay the revenues of the company back to the agents. This is a phenomenal model. So eXp, the agent, is at the top. We're the owners of the business. We benefit from the growth of the company. And then the split that you work with as an agent is a compelling split. And you're going to see how the deal for you as an agent is the best. Okay, so good question to ask. You may be sitting there asking this question, saying, okay, I get the concept behind it. Okay, it was a clever idea. Is it working? This is the latest, and this was a slide released by MikeDP.com. This is an external guy who monitors the real estate industry in America. So find America that are in real estate. Probably the biggest growing company along with eXp over the last 5 years has been a company called Compass in America. They've got a unique model. They're acquisitive. They just went and bought a whole lot of companies. If you look at Compass, they are unbelievable. They are bleeding cash. Over 60 million US dollar loss in Q1 of 2023. Anywhere are the guys that own Sotheby's, ERA, Century 21, Corcoran, Better Home and Garden. That's them. They've lost $50 million in the first quarter of 2023. Then you've got Douglas Elliman, Fathom, Real. The only other company to be marginally profitable is a company called United, and then look at eXp. Probably a sort of $15 to $18 million profit in Q1 of 2023. Is it working? This company is growing faster than anything else, and it is the most profitable real estate company in the world. So again, all of this, guys, all I'm hoping to do with this introduction is to get your attention that this is something worth looking at. Something, whether you end up writing yourself into this story or not, there is something worth looking at here. And so again, thank you for your time with us this morning. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through the 4 basic pillars that make eXp's model what it is. These are the 4 big pillars that create its model. I'm going to tell you what they are in advance now, and then we'll go back to number 1, and we're going to go through them one by one. And that's what the rest of today's webinar is. So the first one is a phenomenal technology platform for you to build your own business as a real estate agent. As an independent contractor, there's this incredible platform, and that involves all sorts of details around the split that you're on and the technology that we use, and I'm going to get into all of that detail just now. The second one is our training. I'm going to justify this statement later, but eXp provides the top training of any real estate company in the world. No one can even compete, can come even close to the training that you get at eXp, and I'm going to justify that statement, why that is true later. Thirdly, we are an agent-owned business. You get given and you can build up a shareholding in the business, which is worth literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, even millions of rands worth of shares sitting in US dollars in a Morgan Stanley account, which they set up for us, which you can build up over time. And this is, to me, one of the most exciting things about eXp's model, is that we can build up a significant dollar-based shareholding in the company with the fastest growing real estate company in history. And then the last one is their revenue sharing model, where you don't have to partake in this part of the model, but if you do play a role in attracting other agents to eXp, you can get paid a percentage of the split that they pay on their transactions. So eXp take a split on everyone's transactions, but they will share some of their portion of the split, not the agents, some of their portion. They will share it back with you if you've helped grow the company. And this, to me, when I saw eXp, this was the most exciting thing for me, because you can get genuinely financially free through the revenue sharing. But for some of you, that may not be something you're excited about. It's fine. The rest of the benefits are enough. Okay, so let's go through one by one. A phenomenal technology platform. First thing I want to answer is how much it costs to join eXp. It's 800 Rand joining fee, and then there is a monthly cloud fee, as they call it, of 800 Rand per month. Now, I must just tell you, I've got the inside scoop on this because I'm kind of involved with what's happening from a corporate perspective, is that's going up to 900 Rand per month from the 1st of September. So if you're going to be budgeting, you need to budget for 900 bucks a month from, sorry, not 1st of September, it's the 1st of October. 1st of October. It actually is a very good increase, because I'm going to digress a little bit now, but from the beginning of when eXp launched in South Africa, I was not satisfied with the CRM component of the rep system that we use to load our listings. As a listing system, it's a brilliant system and it works wonderfully well. It did have a little CRM component that you could use, but I thought there were better options in South Africa. Particularly, there's a company called PropCon. I've done lots of webinars with them over time. You may have attended those. That's with Lawrence and Leandre. They're a South African couple who have built, in my view, the best CRM system for South African real estate agents available out of all the options in the world. I think it's the top CRM system. It is incredible what you can do with that system. So my whole group within eXp over the last 2.5 years, we've actually used PropCon as our CRM system, and each of my agents have paid an extra 167 Rand a month for that. Because I've got by far the biggest eXp group in South Africa, in the end, Andrew said, well, let's just look at if we can get PropCon bundled in with the eXp membership. And they've done a lot of negotiation behind the scenes. I'm very grateful to Andrew for doing this. And they have now negotiated that PropCon, the CRM system, gets included in the 900 Rand a month that you're going to pay from the 1st of October. So you get a world-class CRM system with the 900 bucks. So, and that's just for an extra 100 Rand. Plus, we're now getting a virtual agent membership to get all property owners' details. That's also included for the extra 100 Rand a month, which we did not have. So now you get Lightstone, virtual agent, PropCon CRM, and all of the technology with the listing system that we use with eXp. It is a phenomenal technology package, like a basket of technology solutions that we get for 900 bucks a month. Now, if you're sitting in the audience today and you are a small business owner, if you're a principal with your own company, and I know there are a couple of you here like that, you're going to look at that. You're going to say, are you telling me for 900 Rand a month, I get a listing system that gives me unlimited leads and listings on P24 and private property? Yes. Because you're going to say to me, hang on a second, I pay $5,000 a month just for my P24 membership. That's not even private property or Lightstone or CMA or like a CRM system or virtual agent. It's just on the P24 membership. Am I going to get all of this for $900 a month? Yes. This is what happens when a global supergiant, a 200-kilogram gorilla, comes into a country. They have unbelievable clout when they are negotiating. So yeah, unbelievable. The fees on this thing are incredibly low. $900 a month from the 1st of October. All right, what split are you on as an agent with eXp? Now, what I'm going to tell you now does not matter if you are an intern. You can still be a candidate property practitioner. It doesn't matter if you're a full status agent. It doesn't matter if you're an NQF 5-level principal. I don't care if you've been in the business 1 week or if you've been in the business 30 years. The deal is the same for everybody. Every agent is on the same deal. Here's how it works. You are on a 71-29 split. Now, why do I say 71-29 when it says 75-25 on the screen? Because if you look at the bottom point on that screen, in addition to, okay, now listen to this, guys, because this is going to become an important detail. In addition to the 25% that we pay eXp South Africa, we pay an additional 4% of our commissions to eXp International. Okay, so 25% is paid to eXp South Africa. Just remember that point, because that's how the cap is worked out on the 25%. But we always pay also 4% international. So effectively, you're on a 71-29 split. When you get paid out your commissions, you get a full printout of all your commissions every month. You can see what the deductions are, etc. Let me tell you what is not going to happen. You're not going to get a printout of your commissions, and you've, let's say, done 100,000 Rand commission. You're expecting 71,000 Rand because you're on a 71% split. Oh, by the way, there's like another 5% master franchise fee. Oh, and by the way, there was another 10% because you're still an intern. Oh, and by the way, there was another 10% because of the training levy. And this is what happens at companies. I don't know if that's happened to you here, where you get your commission. It's like, where's it all gone? And oh, there were all these other deductions that they took off. That does not happen with South Africa. With eXp, you get paid 71%. You have to make provision for your own tax. Okay, well, they don't even take PAYE off. You're an independent contractor. Each of us are what's known as provisional taxpayers. So we pay twice a year. You've got to make provision for your own tax. Okay, so 71-29. But the good news is the 25% that we pay to eXp South Africa is capped. It's limited to a certain amount every year, which is 150,000 Rand. You don't have to pay in 150,000 Rand. It's just the maximum amount that you can pay in a given year, which is really good news. The capping system means once you have paid in 150,000 Rand, which, now put your mathematical cap on, work backwards. If 25% is 150, that means your gross commission was 600,000 by the time you've capped, okay? When you've done 600,000 gross commission, you've paid in 150. From that point onwards, for the rest of that 12-month period, you do not pay eXp South Africa anything. You keep it all for yourself. So what does that mean? Okay, this is the split. If you haven't understood any of that, just understand this. You are on a 71-29 split until you hit 600,000 gross commission. After that point, you are on a 96% split. You get paid out 96% of your commissions for the rest of that 12 months. And then at the beginning of your anniversary year again, it resets back down to naught. And then you've got to pay in your 25% again until you reach 600,000 gross commission. So every year it resets until you've capped, and then you keep 96%. So we just had one of our agents in the parks in Joburg. His name's Brad Neal. Brad just capped in 6 weeks. So that means essentially for 11 months, 10 and a half months, Brad is keeping 96% of his commission. He was with Tyson. Can you believe he was with Tyson on a 50-50 split? He is making, he'll probably make over R1 million more this year just because of the split and the capping system. So it is a phenomenal deal as far as being an agent is concerned. Okay, next is what is your 800 or 900 Rand monthly cloud fee? Okay, I'm not actually going to go into all of that. There's a whole bunch of technology we get. I've mentioned the major ones. You get P24 listings, private property list, unlimited listings on both of the portals. You get a PropCon CRM membership. You get virtual agent for property owners details. You get Lightstone membership for all of the deeds office information. I pay for a Gumtree feed for my whole group. So if you join eXp, you will be in my group, even if you join Andre and Lydia, because they are in my group. So I pay for a Gumtree feed. There's a whole bunch of other stuff you get. You get a whole bunch of international syndications. We can give you more detail on the systems later. And in fact, we can show you the systems if you want to get online with us. Okay, I do want to highlight one of the systems that we get. Thank you, Chris. Sorry you got to rush off early, but I'll be in touch with you. Okay, so there is a communication platform that we use within eXp called Workplace. Workplace is actually a Facebook app. It's run by Facebook. It is basically Facebook just rebranded for internal company use. And I understand that eXp has got the largest workplace profile in the world. We've got 90,000 agents all on Workplace. And in fact, if I could show you my phone, I just got a message this morning from a guy called Hugh McLeod. You probably won't be able to see that. I don't know Hugh. He's an eXp agent from Canada and Vancouver, and he's moving to New Zealand. And he sent me a message this morning just saying, I'm really impressed by what you're doing with building your team in South Africa. I'm moving to Canada. I'd love to just pick your brain and get some insights. And I've said to him, yeah, no problem. Let's get together. This happens all the time with eXp. We are such a collaborative business, and not just locally in South Africa where we've got an incredible team and we're very collaborative here, but eXp agents all over the world have got each other's backs. That is very unusual, folks. I can't tell you how many agents I've spoken to that said, look, even in my local office where I am, in whatever suburb I am, there's 20 of us in the office. I feel like they are my competition. I feel like they will stab me in the back if they get the chance. They will steal my client if they get the chance. That, I'm not going to say it never happens at eXp because there's human beings at eXp, okay? But the culture of eXp is completely different. In the most part, we are a phenomenally collaborative culture where we honor one another, we trust one another, we support one another to succeed. And I think there are reasons for that I won't go into. So Workplace and WorkChat are incredible tools for us to connect online with each other. Okay, branding. How does branding work with eXp? Obviously, there are templates and artwork for all of the stuff that you want to produce, your boards, your business cards, etc. And that you've got multiple options on the branding. We've got a whole marketing center where you just log in, you say, I want a brochure, I want a listing flyer, I want a little video on my latest listing, video, that's quite cool. I want a social media post, and then you select your listing on our rep system, and it automatically populates whatever it is, the little video or the brochure or the show house flyer. It just populates it immediately with the photographs, etc., and you just save it as a PDF or you print it out. So we've got a fully automated marketing center with all of our stuff. You can obviously create your business cards and your email signatures. There's the gray and black option. I think that's quite nice. And then there's the orange and blue option. It's weird. I've had a whole bunch of people through the last couple of years say to me, yo, it just reminds me of the old South African flag. So I'd rather go with the gray. And I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what you think of that, but that's kind of one of the comments I've had. Obviously, eXp Global are not thinking about that when they created their corporate image. So there's an example of the blue and orange option. Okay, what I really want to talk about, though, is the flexibility of the branding. This is an important discussion. You've got a number of options on branding when you become an eXp agent. You can either just brand yourself as an eXp agent. Wonderful. All of the templates and the artwork are already in place. You just download them and send them off to your printer. Okay. If, however, you already own a small business and you do not want to lose your brand, you say, Stephen, I've been building my own brand for the last 5 years. I'm well known in the area. I don't want to lose my brand. You don't have to. eXp have a whole different way of branding where you can be powered by eXp. It's a bit like, you know, Pam Golding. If you look at Pam Golding's logo, you'll see at the bottom corner, it says in association with, who is it? I think it's Savills or something like that. In association with Savills. A couple of the others, like Christie's, is it Creef in Cape Town, are in partnership with Christie's International. It's similar to that. You will just be powered by eXp, but you keep your own brand. So Andre and Lydia, in fact, are doing this. They build their own brand in the northern suburbs of Cape Town called Team LA, Team Lydia and Andre, and they are trading as Team LA powered by eXp. That's really, really good news for you if you've got a brand of your own. You just keep your branding. All you got to do, basically, you keep the colors, you keep your website, you keep your email addresses, you keep everything's the same. You just basically add the powered by eXp logo. But behind the scenes, if you're a business owner, please listen to this. You understand what's happening here. You are actually shutting down the legal entity of the company. You actually deregister the business. You deregister it from the PPRA. You don't need a trust account anymore. You don't need the audits. You don't need the memberships. You don't need any of the expenses or the legal administration. You are no longer a principal of a real estate company. You just move your personal FFC to eXp. But on the face of it, it's a facade. It's a mask that the public still sees. To them, it doesn't look like there's been any change. But behind the scenes, you've stripped out all the costs of the company. And you are using eXp's platform now to run your business, but the branding stays pretty much the same. Okay, there is only one piece of frustrating news on this story, which I hate to be the bearer of frustrating news to you. This is not an eXp rule. We wish we could get this right. It's a P24 rule, and they are being stubborn and they're digging their heels in the sand. If a P24 person ever listens to this, please, would you listen to us? They will not display any of our powered by eXp custom logos on the listings on P24. Because we've only got a single membership with P24, they will only put an eXp logo on P24 listings. Okay, so the one place your logo will not appear is on P24. I'm sorry, I wish we could change it. Okay, here's an example of a guy who's powered by eXp. I don't know if you know Kyle Whistle. He was voted a couple of years ago as the top real estate agent in the world using video. And go and look at Kyle Whistle's YouTube channel. It is unbelievable what these guys do on video. He's based in Chicago. So a few years ago, Kyle moved his whole group, the Whistle Realty group, across to eXp, and they've kept their branding. They're just powered by, in America, they're called brokered by eXp. Okay, other income streams. I'm still on pillar number one. Remember, there's 4 pillars to eXp's model. Number one is the platform to be an estate agent with, and that's what I'm still talking about now. Next, we're going to talk about training, then the stock awards, and then the revenue sharing system. Okay, we're still on number one, the platform. It's actually the last point I want to make on the platform, is because we have become a powerhouse in South Africa, such a dominant force growing so fast, we've obviously been approached now by service providers within the industry. And we've negotiated, and some of these are negotiated within my group within eXp, we've negotiated very favorable secondary incomes for our agents, which, and please listen to this, you do not share these with the company. That might be a big difference to what's happening at your business at the moment. Okay, so we get paid, for example, with multi-net home loans. Now, you don't have to use multi-net. You're an independent contractor when you join eXp. You can use your own service providers, attorneys, bond originators, all of them, you choose. But if you do use multi-net as an eXp agent, you will get paid 0.5% bond commission. That's the highest that is paid in the country. That's what they offer the big franchises. Okay, we get paid that, but here's the difference: they pay the 0.5% to you, the agent, not to eXp. How awesome is that? That guy, Brad Neal, I was telling you about earlier, Captain 6 Weeks, he's just been paid on one of his transactions in Joburg, 50,000 Rand bond.com. Paid directly to him, doesn't have to share it with the company. Not even the split, the 71-29 split, whatever. You don't even pay the split on the bond.com. You keep the whole lot. So, I mean, awesome. We've also got an arrangement with an old mutual practice that do bond insurance, and then they do they move the client onto life insurance, short-term insurance. And this is for the agents in my group. And then you will get paid a percentage of the premiums every month of the insurance products. We've also got an arrangement with currency partners. So if you have clients who bring in money from overseas, or you have foreign clients on the currency exchange, if you run it through currency partners and they do get great rates for our clients, you get paid a fee for that. So you can start setting up secondary income streams, like a second, third, fourth income stream for yourself, just by doing what you're already doing. But because of eXp's model, they are happy for you to do this and keep it all for yourself. It really is very, very powerful. Okay, so that's all I want to say on the tech platform and what it's like to be an agent. We can get into further conversations. I'm sure you're going to have lots of questions. That's why we need to talk. All right, next one, training. So eXp, I said to you, have got the top training of any real estate company in the world. There's two reasons for that. Reason number one, because of the quantity of training. There is so much training at eXp. We have, on average, say 30 to 40 training sessions a day. Now you say, well, hang on, a day? How does that work? Because we have an avatar world, there are auditoriums like the one on your screen all over eXp's avatar world. And so every country, there's 24 countries, has got its own auditorium, it's got its own classrooms, it's got its own boardrooms. There are literally hundreds of venues across eXp world. And in many of those venues, there is training taking place at any point of every day. So eXp publish a training calendar that is put together by eXpU, which is an entire division of eXp Global, eXp University. They put together a training calendar which you can click on, you can look at weeks in advance. You can see all of the training that's coming up every single day, and you can just pick and choose what you like. Okay, there's something coming up on social media marketing. There's something coming up on Instagram. There's something coming up on negotiation skills. There's something coming up on sphere influence or working by referral. Okay, that looks good, that looks good, that looks good. I'll go to those ones. And then all you do is you open up the app, you go to the UK auditorium, or you go to the Icon auditorium, or you go to the South Africa auditorium, wherever it is, you just go there, you sit down next to the person, you click on a seat. All of these people you see on that image there are real human beings. You can turn to the person next to you, you can talk to them. They'll be sitting in America, wherever they are. You can talk to the presenter, you can walk up to the presenter afterwards, you can have a conversation. It's incredibly interactive. It is a mind-blowing experience if you've never been into the avatar world. It is mind-blowing. Okay, that's reason number one, the quantity of training. Okay, but then the question obviously is, well, who's doing the training? Is the quality of the training good? eXp have an incentive called the Icon Award. What is the Icon Award? In South Africa, to become an Icon agent, you've got to do 5 million Rand gross commission. Okay, so I think that should show you these are very successful people. And it's the equivalent of that all around the world. These are the top 1 or 2% of eXp's agents globally. Okay, there is an incentive. If you become an Icon agent at eXp, listen to this, eXp actually take the cap that you've paid in for that year when you become an Icon. They take that cap, in South Africa, the 25% that you've paid in, and they give it back to you. How do they give it back to you? In the form of eXp shares. So they'll give you, in South Africa, 150,000 Rands worth of eXp shares. They just give them to you. But there's a catch. In order to get 75%, or it's 50% of those shares that they give you, You have to, as the Icon agent, do, I think it's 6 training sessions in eXp World. How clever is that? Because what they've now done is they've created a system whereby the top agents in the world are incentivized to train the other agents. So half of the 20, 30, 40 sessions a day, half of them are being conducted by Icon agents. These are not people with some theory. These are people who are currently crushing it in their market, and they are there to teach you how to do what they are currently doing. Do you have that opportunity in your business? It is absolutely phenomenal. We learn from the best in the world for free as part of our membership of eXp. Okay, so the training at eXp is unmatched. It is unparalleled. Okay, the next little tranche of training that you get access to is, as you know, I've been a real estate trainer for the last 20 years, and I have put together a basket of my very best training courses that I have run. This is what I've sold traditionally. So the one on the top left-hand corner there, the Successful Real Estate Agent, that costs 5,700 Rand. If you're a general member of the real estate public, you want to buy it. I actually don't sell it anymore. I have reserved all of my training for my eXp group because I've moved out of real estate training now. So you get all of my training for free, which is how to work by referral. That's been my strength, is lead generation. And then we've got social media marketing training, bottom left-hand corner. That's on Instagram. And then we've got some like tech training, which is the going virtual stuff, which you see as the other things on the screen. Okay, so you get access to my training. And then, of course, there's training that eXp South Africa put on for the South African agents that is relevant for us as South African agents. And there's a whole calendar that's released once a week for South Africa's eXp corporate training. So, guys, there's endless training at eXp. I also partner with some of the top trainers in the world. Because I've got a big group, I can get the attention of guys like Bill Pipes and Fred Wilson. So these are two of the top guys in the world. We're actually halfway through a series that I paid for. I spent a fortune on some training for my group with Bill Pipes. I came when I was in Texas this year. I bought it while I was at a conference there. And my whole group is busy doing Bill Pipes' training. And some have labeled him the top real estate trainer in the world. So he's busy doing an 8-week series with my group. And these are things that I'm constantly doing, partnering with guys like this and Fred Wilson to do training for my group. So, guys, it's unbelievable, the training. Number 3, agent owned. How does the stock award system work? Let's talk about that. eXp listed on the NASDAQ, I think it was 2018. There's old Glenn Sanford with the board of directors on the day that they listed. You know, when you list on one of the US stock exchanges, you come to the stock exchange as the board of directors, and then the chairman of the company at the end of the day gets to hit the buzzer to close down the market for the day. It's an honor that they give to people who list. So there's a picture of old Glenn Sanford shutting down the world, stock markets. I always had this, for some reason I knew about this as a kid, and I had this memory of like dreaming of one day shutting down the world financial markets. To ring that buzz. I don't think I'm going to get my chance, but Glenn Sanford got the chance. How do we get shares in the business? Okay, 2 things you need to notice on this slide. Left-hand side, let's start there. These are shares that you get given. Okay, so there's sort of 2 panels on the right. These equate to the top panel that says Agency Equity Awards. We get given shares in the business. I said I've got 266,000 Rands worth of shares, which at this morning's share price, that's what it was. And I've been given every one of those. I haven't paid a cent for any of them. How does that work? Okay, here's how it works. There's a bunch of ways you can get given shares. Here are some of them. The first, you get given 2,000 Rands worth of shares. They translate that into US dollars, and then they round it up, which is nice. So if your Rands would have bought you 5.5 shares, they'll give you 6 shares. So 2,000 Rands every year for your first sale. Every year that you cap, and hopefully if we've selected our agents correctly here today, you will all be capping agents. If you cap at 600,000 gross commission for the year, you get given 4,000 rands worth of shares. So, hey, congratulations for capping. Here's 4,000 rands worth of shares. If you sponsor, now don't get confused by the word sponsor. It's a technical term within eXp structure. It just means you introduce eXp to another agent. No one can join eXp globally without, when they sign the contract, putting an existing eXp's agent's name as their sponsor. Everybody has to be introduced by an existing member. It's a closed loop system, and it's monitored by eXp's technology. There's obviously multiple generations now of agents that have introduced agents, who've introduced agents, who've introduced agents. They've got an entire system that tracks that genealogy, that family tree. If you introduce an agent to eXp and you become their sponsor, you get given 4,000 rands worth of shares when they do their first deal with eXp. Now, because I don't work as an agent, I'm unique with eXp. Okay, I'm like 1 in a million that I don't actually work as an agent. Everybody else is a functioning estate agent. But because I came from training, I saw the agent attraction side of things as my big opportunity. So this is the only way that I can make shares. This is how I have accumulated 266,000 rands worth of shares. I've been given a whole bunch of those 4,000 rands, and the share price has more than doubled in the time that I've been with the company. So it's been a great deal for me. Okay, so that's the first way. There are other ways to get given shares, like the Icon Award. You get given 150,000 rands worth of shares if you become an Icon agent. Then there is another way you can get shares, which you purchase with your own money, but you get access to them at a discounted price. How does that work? Okay, this is now the panel at the bottom right where it says Agency Equity Program. You are allowed, and this is discretionary, you have to tick a box when you sign eXp's contract that says, yes, I want to participate in that, and I would suggest you participate in this, okay? They will withhold an additional 5% of your transaction, of your commissions. So instead of paying you 71%, they'll pay you out 66%. What do they do with that 5%? It's still your money. They're not taking it away from you. They're just redirecting it. And they purchase eXp shares for you at a 10% discount. You say, are they like, do they hold on to those shares? When do I get ownership of them? You own them immediately. If you wanted to sell them the same day and actually make that 10% profit, you could. But I would suggest to you that you should forget entirely about those shares. And this is what I'm telling everyone that joins me. Subscribe to the program and completely forget about it. You know what we like. If money gets put into our account, we spend it. If it never hits our account, we don't even know it's there. Imagine you work as an estate agent with eXp for the next 10 years. Let's say you've got a 10-year exit plan. You want to be financially free in 10 years' time. That's not a long time to become financially free, by the way. In 10 years, what would your gross commission over the next 10 years be in total? Now, you take 5% of that and you invest that in a NASDAQ, a dollar-based share, at a 10% discount on the share price every time you purchase shares with your transactions, and you look at where this company is going, what will the share price be in 10 years' time? As I say, the share price has more than doubled since I've been with the company. Since the company listed about 5 years ago, there was a big spike in the middle, but since it listed about 5 years ago, the share price has gone from, I think it's $5 to the equivalent of $45 because there's been a share split since then. So that's gone up 8 times in 5 years. Where will the share price be in 10 years' time when we're in 100 countries and we've got 1 million agents? Obviously, I can't tell you that, and I'm not making financial predictions. I'm just telling you guys, to just leave that money in this Morgan Stanley account building up, it could be worth millions and millions of rands in 10 years' time. It's one of the most phenomenal opportunities that eXp gives its agents, is to build up a shareholding. Okay, we can give you again more detail on that. Just sorry, I didn't mention this. The shares that we get given for free, there is a 3-year vesting period with those shares. So we can't sell those within 3 years. If we leave the company in that 3 years, we forfeit the shares. So if I leave, I will forfeit the 266,000 Rand that I've got sitting there. But you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough. It's a retention scheme. And fair enough, because I haven't paid for them. They've given them to me. So fair enough. I'm not bitter about that at all. That's the Icon Award, and we can give you more detail how that works. There may be some of you here that you're within reach, and I know some of you that I've invited here today. You would be within reach of becoming an Icon agent. You're basically on a 96% split the whole year because they give you your cap back in shares, and we can talk about how that works. If you become an Icon agent with eXp, you'll be a global superstar because they put you on stages, they fly you around, they will obviously you do training in the eXp world and you'll become a superstar as an Icon agent. All right, the last one, guys, and I'll finish with this, is the revenue sharing program. Again, not everyone is going to do this. And if you don't relate to any of this, that's fine. You can just enjoy everything I've spoken about already. But if you catch a vision for the passive income that the revenue sharing system can provide, as I did when I joined eXp, as Andre and Lydia have progressively over the 2 years that they've been with eXp, and I mean, I don't want to put words in their mouth, we'll let them talk later, but as they're very good agents, very high producing agents, they're capping agents with eXp, but over the 2 years, they've begun to understand the potential of getting set free financially with a revenue sharing system, which is why many of you are here today, because they've invited you to have a look at eXp. Okay, this is how the revenue sharing system works. If you attract another agent to eXp, they are going to be on what we call your tier 1. So this is now a first generation agent to you. They list your name as their sponsor. They're on tier 1. What eXp will do is they will pay you forever. As long as that agent is with eXp and producing, they will pay you 3.5% of the gross commission of that agent. It's like you getting a split on that agent's commission. Where does that 3.5% get paid from? It does not get paid from the agent's portion. They keep their 71%. It gets paid out of eXp's 25% that they get. They get 25, but they pay 3.5 back to you because we collectively own the company. So we enjoy part of the split. Okay, so, and that's for as many people as you personally enroll. So I have personally sponsored on my tier 1, 87 people in the last 2.5 years. You know, proportionally, if I was a Keller Williams recruiter in a local market center, you know, I'd probably get fired for only recruiting 87 people in almost 2.5 years. But that's all I've done. And I get paid 3.5% on those 87 people's transactions, okay? But what eXp do now is they say, well, what if, let's say the person on your first tier there, their name is Joe, okay? So you sponsor Joe. Joe is not living under a rock. Joe also knows a few agents, and Joe gets a vision for this thing. And he says, you know what? I've left, you know, ABC Realty, and I've come to eXp, and there was an agent that I was with at ABC Realty. Her name was Mary. We're good friends. She's actually asked me about eXp because she's seen I've come to eXp. I'm going to show her the video. Now, if you want to find this presentation, where do you find it? You don't have to redo this. In fact, I would suggest you don't try to explain this to anyone. There's too much information. Just play them the video. Where do you find it? You go to a very simple website. Maybe Andre can put this in the chat roll. themodelexplained.co.za. themodelexplained.co.za. This exact presentation is sitting there. And you just tell them, hey, watch this video. They watch the video and they decide, you know what, I'm going to join. Okay, now watch the screen. What happens now? You sponsored Joe on your first tier. Thanks, Andre. But Joe has sponsored Mary on his first tier. And Mary is now essentially on your second tier. So this is now generation 2, almost like a grandchild for you. What eXp do is they will pay Joe 3.5%, but they will pay you 4% of Mary's gross commission. They actually give you more than they give Joe. We make more on our second tier agents than we do on our first tier agents. What does that do? That incentivizes us to help the people that we enroll to enroll other people. It's a brilliant system. So now I have got, to show you what's happened in just 2.5 years for me, I've got 87 people on my first tier. I have got 246 people on my second tier. Get your head around that. You want to know what eXp stands for? It stands for exponential. I've introduced 87 people. Those 87 have introduced 246. I get paid 4% on 246 people's transactions, and I have introduced none of them. Okay, doesn't stop there. What if Mary knows someone named Jane, and Jane ends up on my third tier? She's 3 generations away from me. I get paid 2.5% on Jane, and so it goes down. We actually earn revenue share on all of the transactions in our revenue share group down to 7 generations, 7 tiers we get paid through. So when you see that number on my board there, as of today, in fact, if I refreshed it now, it would probably be higher because there are just people joining all the time now in my group. It gets out of control. But I've got 670 people in my entire 7 levels of my revenue share group, and I get paid 1% or another. It's different on the different tiers. I earn revenue share on all 670 agents in my revenue share group. Now, guys, again, maybe this doesn't interest you. Maybe you say, oh, I feel uncomfortable about that or whatever. That's fine. You don't have to do this. It's not a prerequisite. Just enjoy the split, enjoy the shares in the company, enjoy the training, enjoy the independence, enjoy that. But for some of you on this call, I know this is going to get your attention as it got my attention, because in 2.5 years, folks, well, let me not talk my personal finances, but you can set yourself financially free pretty quickly with this thing. It is unbelievable. Okay. Next point is that you do not only have to look at eXp, at agents in South Africa. Oh, I didn't make this point earlier. When you work as an agent with eXp, you are not geographically bound for where you can take listings. You can work anywhere in South Africa because that's where you've got a license to operate, but you can list and sell anywhere in South Africa. Okay. As far as sponsoring other agents is concerned, you can sponsor agents anywhere in the world where eXp operates. So I already have an agent in France. I personally sponsored Frank in France. I've also got an agent in Dubai, and I've got an agent in America. That's what those other 2 flags are there on my board. I did not sponsor those people. I sponsored a guy I sponsored Sharon Moodley. Sharon Moodley sponsored Berdine. Berdine sponsored Ryan Pereira. Really good guy in Dubai. And he's already done his first transaction since he's been with eXp in Dubai, and we've already been paid our revenue share on it. So I get paid, just get your head around this, guys. I get paid a percentage of agents working as estate agents all over the world. And I haven't had to start a company in any other country. I haven't even had to start a company in South Africa. My monthly expenses are 900 Rand a month. And I've got a global real estate company. Get your head around that. When an agent in the States, this agent of mine in the States, when they do a transaction, I make about 6 times what I make on a South African agent because of the exchange rate. There is an unbelievable global passive income opportunity for South Africans, and there's a window now as this thing is growing around the world. Okay, exit plan. I'm almost done, guys, probably 5 minutes and we're finished. So I just want to illustrate to you, very crude illustration. It's never going to be this simple, but let's just say you don't have anybody on your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th tiers. You've only got people on 2 tiers. You sponsor 10, and over the next 5 years, you end up with 100 on your second tier. The 10 on average, each sponsor 10. Okay, I mean, I did that in the first 6 months probably. But let's say it takes you 5 years to do that. You sponsor 10, they each sponsor 10. And if they were all good agents, and that's who we approach, capping agents, how much do you think you would earn? And don't be ridiculous, okay? This is just, you sponsored only 10 people here. But what would be a nice passive income that you get paid every month? You don't work for this. You're nobody's principal. This gets put into your account every month. What would be a nice passive income in 5 years' time, every month for the rest of your life, for just sponsoring 10 people? Okay, just have a number in your mind. Okay, and please don't say, I want to like live in Clifton and fly a private jet, because you're not going to get that for 10 people. But what would be a nice extra income? Okay, and then annualize it. Have a number in your mind for 12 months. Because I'm going to show you what the numbers with eXp's revenue system are, and that's without any other tiers, just first and second tier. It would be 2.6 million Rand a year. If you sponsor 10 and they each sponsor 10, and they're capping agents, and that's in 5 years' time, if it takes 5 years to do that. This is the potential of the revenue sharing system. We can show you that in more detail. In fact, on that follow-up resources page, where I've said to you go and do a whole lot of homework, if you scroll down that page, one of the videos there is a revenue share calculator with a little video. Go and watch that. If this interests you, go and watch that. It explains more detail on how it works. Okay, what are your next steps? First of all, please take the phone call. We're going to phone you after this, even if for some unknown, mysterious reason, you want to say to me, Stephen, thanks for having me on today's thing. I appreciate it, but it's just the wrong time for me, and I prefer not to take the conversation further. That's fine. You know, I'm not here to convince anybody to do anything they don't want to do. We are giving an opportunity to you. If you say you're not interested right now, no problem. Let's bless each other and say thank you for one another's time and part peacefully. Please take the phone call. Okay? If there is some interest, if you at least want to continue the conversation and take the next step, here's what I'm going to suggest you do. Go and do some homework. Again, we are going to WhatsApp this link to you, maybe email it to you again to this page. Go and watch a whole lot of videos. Please go and do some research, because it can't just be my voice you listen to. The second thing I'm going to recommend you do is get together with me if you're my guest, or Andre and Lydia if you're their guest. Get together and talk. Ask your questions. Let's start the journey together. And I'd recommend that we do that at least by the end of next week. You don't want to leave this thing so that it goes cold, okay? All right, so schedule a follow-up appointment and do some research before then. Secondly, get access to eXp's contract. Andre, could I ask you to put this link in the chat bar, please? There is a page on eXp's website. I'm going to show it to you on my screen now. If you scroll down, there's a button, unless they've changed it, that says Explore eXp, or I think it maybe now says Become an Agent. You can scroll down to the bottom of the page. It says Become an Agent, I think is the latest one. You click it, it takes you to a page with the terms and conditions. You just say yes, just tick I'm ready, yes. It then presents you with a form. Fill in that form. What happens when you fill in that form? You're not joining eXp. All it does is it triggers an email from eXp's system with a link to the contract. You want to read the contract. It's 82 pages. Okay, I'm warning you. I think it's 80, or is it 46? Look, at some ridiculous number of pages. So just pour yourself a glass of wine tonight, get access to the contract and read it. You don't want to sign something you haven't read. I can tell you now, there's nothing in the contract you need to worry about. We've got so much independence at eXp, it's wonderful, but you do want to read it. Okay, so get access to the contract by filling in the form on that page. That's the second thing I'd recommend you do. And then lastly is do a Save Me beta test. What is a Save Me beta test? Well, as you're sitting here, there's probably 2 or 3 people that you're thinking, I wonder what they would think. I'd love their opinion on this thing. You know, if there's 1, 2, or 3 estate agents that you know that you've got a good relationship with, whose opinion you trust, here's what you do. You phone them up and you say, look, don't ask me for the details because I'm not even going to try to explain it. I saw something this morning that has quietly got me a little bit excited. But I need you to save me if I'm about to do something stupid. Please, would you watch this 1-hour video and give me your opinion? Okay? It's the easiest script in the world to use because everybody's happy to give you their opinion. You're not asking them to join or do anything. You're just saying, save me if I'm doing something stupid. Please watch this. Here's what's going to happen. If you do that with 5 people and you join eXp, one of them at least will join with you. That's what will happen. Okay, I think that is the end of my slide presentation. Guys, God bless you, whether you join us or not. God bless you. If there's ever anything I can do to help you, whether you join us or not, you let me know. I will be a blessing to you if I can. Andre, Lydia, let me hand it back over to you guys to close us off.
Stephen, thank you so very, very much. A wonderful presentation as usual. Yeah, I just think we can just close off by saying, you know, we were with Remax for 15 years, and we were very happy there, and we were going nowhere. And I actually saw eXp online because I follow a lot of guys on social media. I saw it before they were coming to South Africa, before anybody thought they were coming to South Africa. And I did investigation, and I knew I'd join them if they ever did come. And then lo and behold, they did. And we ended up joining. I had to actually find a sponsor because nobody introduced me to, and I eventually ended up in Stephen's group, luckily. And we've become partners since then. And yeah, so it was just, I don't know, we were very happy there. And since then, now in 2.5 years, we've really started seeing all the benefits that Stephen has spoken about. You don't have to make use of them all, but we have actually seen all of them. We've got more than 200,000 rands worth of shares on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. We've got a group out of Stephen's 600 and something. I think our part of that is 120 agents in our revenue share organization. And the big thing is that was not our initial thing we wanted to go for, but it also happened because we're in the market and we joined eXp and other agents started asking us about that. So that actually came. But that wasn't our initial thing. Our thing was, as agents, the commission split, the shares, definitely the training and all that type of thing. And yeah, so it's just been a wonderful ride, and it gets better every month. I mean, Lydia can tell you some more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, the commission and the bondcom was a very big thing for me from the beginning. At Remax, we used to get better rewards, and you can buy something for a discounted price or whatever. Here, you really get 0.5%. So that's 5,000 Rand on a R1 million transaction, which you don't usually see at other companies. So that was a big extra for me and a big extra income. And then the management, absolutely agent-centric. You can WhatsApp Andrew Thompson, you can speak to them, you can set up a meeting. We've got a Google meeting just now, again at 11:30 with Andrew. They are approachable and they're there to help us make our business a success. And that really, really works very well. They're looking out for us. And then the other thing is, one of my best colleagues and became a very, very good friend in the industry, Mariki, she joined me as an intern in Remax, and then she came over with me to eXp, and she's just leaving now for New Zealand, and she's going to go on there on her eXp journey. So that's amazing. Wherever it takes you, you can go and you don't have to change. So for us, it's amazing. We are excited. We feel blessed and we love every moment. And if you want to reach out and talk to me, I will give you a call in the next week. But if you want to talk before that, I already have a WhatsApp here that says, please, let's talk. You are very welcome to send me a WhatsApp. You all have my number that I've invited.
Yeah,
thanks,
and then
guys, and
like Stephen said, you're more than welcome to contact us, and we can actually then also set up Google meetings. And if you want, we can log into our back end systems and all that's being told here today. We can actually show it all to you in practice, all the actual systems and technology that's available So just reach out to us or Stephen, and it would be great to chat to you. And as Stephen also said, even if this is not for you, just say so. And we just forming relationships anyway, and we can work by referral and just keep our relationships going forward.
Great, guys. Thank you, Andre, Lydia. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you. I am reading the kind comments. Thanks, Lazan. And we'll be in touch. If you're my guest, you'll get a phone call from me soon. So God bless you. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Ciao.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
I am happy to hang around. If you've got questions, I'm happy. So we kind of finished now, but if you've got questions, I'm happy to stay if you've got questions, guys. Charmaine Burnt, have you got a question? I see your hand is up. And you'll need to unmute your mic if you want to ask a question. Feel free, guys. You can just unmute your mic and talk away if you've got a question. Okay, looks like nobody's got questions. We look forward to our conversations. Cheers, guys.
Steve, apologies.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Joey, yeah?
Okay, hi, Joey.
Should we discuss joining as a team privately?
No, that's fine. I'm happy to, because maybe there's others that would benefit from that discussion. So if you are a principal or you've got a team, you can bring the whole team across. Obviously, there's many team leaders that have done that. eXp have got a teams agreement. I won't give the detail of it now, that if you have a certain transaction count as a team in the last 12 months, they will actually pay the team leader, in your case, that they'll pay you additional income on the team that you bring in for the first 24 months. Because they need to compensate somewhat. Obviously, you're going to be losing the split that you currently make on your agents because they're going to be contracting now directly with eXp. Everyone just signs the eXp contract.
Okay.
So what eXp do is they've got like a transition period that they will help you walk through that pays you additional income, and together with that additional income and the dramatic drop in expenses that you will have as a traditional business coming into eXp, we can normally get you pretty close to a break even, so that then as the team grows through the revenue share, the income then grows into the future. So are there any specific questions on how it would work?
No, that sounds great. I was just looking at, am I going to save admin time when joining as a team? Because at the moment, the admin takes up a lot of my time where I want to be out on the road. Yeah. So that will assist me in getting back on the road again, well, more than I am at the moment.
You know, Joey, Andre's... Sorry, Joey.
Sorry. So they will not report to me as such anymore.
No.
They now do their own thing. I don't have to do their invoicing to attorneys.
Correct.
Oh, brilliant.
Everything's done by eXp, and you are no longer legally responsible for them because you're not their principal anymore.
Oh, that makes sense. Thank you.
What we saw with Andre and Lydia, Andre and Lydia's sponsor is a guy called Ferdy Abrahams. He's in Kuils River in the northern suburbs of Cape Town. Ferdy had a company with 10 agents, and as normal, 6 were unproductive and 4 were productive. And he was sick and tired of being a principal. He'd been a principal for 22 years. He had a Remax franchise, then a Harcourts franchise, then he had his own business when I approached him. And he said to me, Stephen, are you telling me for 800 Rand a month at the time, for 800 Rand a month, I get everything I've currently got, and I'm no longer anybody's principal, and the whole thing's going to be run on eXp systems? I said, yeah. He went straight home, fired his wife, fired his daughter, because they were his office manager and his agent coordinator, fired them both. Ferdy's a lacquer. He's got such a good sense of humor the way he tells the story. He said, I fired them both. And he said to the agents, we're going to eXp now. I will admit this is dramatic. It normally doesn't happen within like 1 hour of the presentation, but in Ferdy's case it did. He said, we're going to eXp. You can come with me, or I'll find you somewhere else to go. We're going. So the 4 productive agents came with him. Ferdy's revenue share team, now it's 2 and a bit years later, he's got, I think it's 170 people in his revenue share team.
Sure.
He's gone from 4 agents to 170, But here's the big thing with him. He said, I am personally selling so much more property now because I don't have all of the admin coming out of my ears that I had when I was a principal.
Thank you. That is a huge relief, because I'm just going through the pains of audit and trust accounts, and yeah. So it's very time consuming, and also it keeps me off the road. I've been an accountant for many years. I'm now tired of doing books, and now I must have to just still do my own and present it to the auditors.
Cool, Jay. Well, I'll give you a call and we can set up a one-on-one. Okay.
Please, thank you.
Okay, great. Lazan.
Hi, Steve. Thank you. That was great. Just something that I'm possibly missed is there's no penalties on commission, is there? Whether I want to charge 1% commission or whether I want to charge 7.5%, is there a penalty payable on that commission structure?
I'll tell you what the structure is, but then maybe Andre, you want to comment as well, because I know one of Andre's frustrations was how they used to deal with this at Remax. I'll let him tell that part of the story. From eXp's perspective, in the contract, you will see that if you want to charge less than 4% on a listing, you just have to get Andrew's permission. The only reason they've done that is they don't want a whole bunch of agents somewhere in the country turning eXp into a low-cost brokerage. We're not interested in playing in the 2% pond. We want to be a serious real estate company. And so there has to be some guideline. I have never once in 2.5 years heard of Andrew saying no to an agent. Normally, if an agent wants to charge, say, 2.5% on something, there's a good reason. It's like a big commercial development, or it's someone who's giving them lots of stock in a development or something like that. And then Andrew just sends a thumbs up back and it's fine. That is the only little technicality on this. Otherwise, you can charge what you want and there are no penalties that you have to then split the difference with. Hey, Andre, that's what happened with you and Remax.
Yeah, there were penalties there, but just on that point, Lazan, just to you confirm what Steve is saying. So the main thing is you've just got to get permission if there's a situation that you need to charge less than 4. But the reason the 4 is there is, like Stephen says, otherwise you could get eXp agents starting to advertise out there that they charge 2% or something, and then the general public gets the idea that eXp is a 2% company. So that's the reason for that you can't go and advertise any low commissions. And if you do actually get a transaction that warrants it, you just got to get Andrew's permission for it.
Just as an example, just to give you a quick background, is that I also work in Midstream Estate in Centurion, and I know there's other eXp agents also working there. But there, the general consensus amongst the developers is that we get 4%. So that's why I'm asking is where does that come in? Obviously, we don't want to undersell our worth and work for 3% or 2%. I don't think it's worth it. But is there VAT component on the commission?
Yes, commission is always got to be commission plus VAT.
Plus VAT.
Yes. So when we talk gross commission, like Stephen's been talking of, no gross commission that's split 71, 29 or whatever. The gross commission is ex VAT. So eXp gets the VAT paid to them with a commission, and they pay that to the.
Okay. So I don't have to do that.
No.
I can use my own attorney if I want to.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool. I just need to do my own boards and marketing material.
That's right.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.